Hi there, welcome back. We are going to take a look at the crafting software within the Creativate app. Today, I am on the Creativate app on my Windows laptop, and I'm selecting the crafting software. This will bring me to the Welcome to Creativate Crafting homepage. I can input a design if I have one that I want to modify or to send to the cutter. Device, from the vault, from the design catalog, or as I'm going to do today, I can go into the software and actually create my design. I'm going to start with a 24 by 24 inch cutting mat simply because it gives me a little more flexibility on the screen. Under File, I have the same options bringing in from a device, from the vault, or the design catalog. As we've seen in all the other options, that there are multiple ways to do the same thing. To bring in or to design, I'm going to select the Object tab and Add. And under Add, I'm going to find lettering. So there are lots of fonts that I can choose. I can create different paths for them. They can be drawn letters, they can be cut letters, they can be embossed letters. So I have options there. There are sample designs. And these are designs. What we have to remember is that this is a crafting software. It is not meant 100% for fabric. So some of these designs would be better if cut as from paper or perhaps from vinyl and not necessarily from fabric. Also under Object and Add, we have vertical lines and horizontal lines, so you can create any shape that you would like. But we're going to go into the Shape tab. And under the Shape tab, we have a variety of shapes that we can play with. Keep in mind, you can bring any of these in. You can put lettering on top of them. You could create tags with them. You can cut them from fabric, cut them from paper, cut them from vinyl. There are lots and lots of different options. I am going to start with this one here. It looks like a posy. It looks like a nice little flower. By going into the Advanced tab, this gives me other properties that I can put with that flower or how I want that flower to be cut. It's currently at 8 inches. Now, if you remember from my quilt the other day, the center block, which is to be applique, is 8 inches finished. So putting an 8-inch flower on it would be too big. I'm going to highlight this and change it to 6. And because the Properties button is locked, when I change the height, it also changed the width. If I wanted to distort this and make it longer than it is wider, then I would simply unlock the proportions and then I could change it however I wanted. The design is also symmetrical, so rotating it or mirroring it probably isn't going to give me anything, but if it were a weird shape, I could definitely do that. I also have the option of adding a border and adding seam allowances. Now what this does is, let's say that you're a hand piecer and you want to have a seam allowance on it, or you're doing needle turn applique, you could add your seam allowance to it, and you can have a line drawn on either the front or the back, depending on how you load your fabric onto the mat, that is going to give you the ability to have that seam allowance and then have your lines where you want them to be. I am selecting no border. I'm going to use fusible applique for this particular flower. And now it pops up on my 24 by 24 inch mat. I'm going to just move it up here to the top left-hand corner. And let's say that I want many of these designs. I want as many as I can put on the mat. So we'll go under the Multiply tab, which is up here in the top right-hand corner. And I have various options to select multiply. If I have one horizontal repeat, I'm adding it, or I can up that to 2. I couldn't do a third one because it's not going to fit onto there. And the same thing with the vertical repeats. And I can also change the spacing if I would like. Now this is kind of doing it manually. I also have the option to do an automatic fill the canvas, and it will move the pieces as close together as it possibly can. I can still adjust the spacing and put it on to whatever mat that I want. And if I selected Apply, it now gives me 9 flowers, And I would simply at this point go into my output. I'm going to send it to my Memento, and it will actually cut all 9 of those flowers in one cutting, which is amazing. So I'm going to stop the video right there. I'm actually going to cut only one. I only need one for the center. And then you will, tomorrow what I will do is I'm going to show you a different way that I can create the flower.